Hi, my name is Peter Spees, and I'm going to be interviewing Sherry Bell today. Hi, Sherry.
Hello, Peter.
The laughter is because we've known each other for a long, long time. When did you what first brought you to Phoenix?
I moved to Phoenix. My parents moved here in 1952 from Cleveland, Ohio. And I was a twin. I had a twin brother and a sister. And my mom and dad moved to like 35th Avenue in Van Buren, which now is a terrible area of town, and then was a terrible area of town. In fact, we moved into Quonset huts that were like abandoned army housing, and we lived there for about a year and a half until we had a house built at Christown. My dad had a hardware store on 35th Avenue in Van Buren, and that's where he made the money so that we could move.
Was it just your mom and dad and your sisters and brother, or did you have any grandparents that came with you?
Yeah, I had a grandfather who was from Russia that lived with us and moved with us.
When you were young in Phoenix, did you ever experience any anti-Semitism?
Well, I grew up in West Phoenix. That's not exactly the haven of Judaism. And in fact, they did have a temple where there's a pawn shop now on 3rd Avenue in McDowell, was the closest temple at the time. But yes, I did experience anti-Semitism. I was the only Jew in all my classes. Every year I had to get up and tell the story of Hanukkah or whatever. I didn't know the story of Hanukkah, and it was kind of hard to do. And then I had an incident when I was about 9 where a boy on the neighboring street came up to me and he said, "You are a kike." And I didn't even know what a kike was, to be honest. I had no idea, but I knew it wasn't good. So I took off my shoe and I slammed him in the back as hard as I could. And then I went home. And like an hour later, his mother came over to our house, and she had the unfortunate encounter with my dad answering the door. And she said, "Your daughter just beat up my son." And I told my dad why, and he just said, "Get out of here." And so that was, I knew that you had to confront it, but most of the time I ignored when people said, "Oh, I know some Jews, or they're nice," or
Some of my best friends are Jews, kind of thing.
or "Do you get buried standing up?"
Mm-hmm.
Misconceptions.
So after you did you graduate from high school?
Yes, I went to Central High. And then I kind of was rebellious for a little while. And then I was reading a book called Justice in Jerusalem, which was about the trial of Eichmann. And the prosecutor wrote that book. It detailed all the atrocities in the Holocaust, which I was vaguely aware of, but I really had no firsthand knowledge. And that instilled in me this burning desire to do some kind of justice in the world. And that's when I went back to school.
Now, when you say you went back to school, you went back to college?
Yes.
And so you finished up a college degree at that point?
I finished up in college, did really well, and then I went to law school. And then when I got out of law school, at first I thought I wanted to be a business attorney, but I got introduced early on to criminal defense and really liked it, and just specialized in criminal defense.
Okay, well, I'll get to that in just a minute, but one other thing I was curious about. While you were in school, were you already a mother at that point in time when you started back in law school?
Yes, my son Larry Bell was born in 1970, and he was about 8 years old when I went to law school. So I was kind of a divorced mother going to law school. And Larry, I think that helped his mind because I would read him cases every night. Because in law school you have to study all the time. And I'd sit and read him tort cases about noxious waste and what happened. And Larry would analyze them with me.
So when you got out of law school, I believe you said you became a criminal defense attorney.
Yes.
Did you have any experience, and you wanted to bring justice to the world? What were your experiences like as an attorney? Are you still an attorney today?
Yes. Well, my experiences started out, I wanted to help women and represent women that were battered and abused by their husbands, but that ended quick when I had a hard time dealing with these women that wanted to go back to their husbands over and over again. And then I think being Jewish and experiencing anti-Semitism and scapegoat blame led me to sympathize with defendants that were wrongfully accused, or sometimes not even wrongfully accused, but just accused of crimes, but the punishment did not fit the crime. And I seem to have empathy for people like that. And that helped me in my career. In fact, I had a case when I first started out, I was just frozen in the courtroom. I would get in there and my knees would be shaking, and I would like, how can I ask a question? And now you just can't shut me up. But I had a case in Safford where a man was wrongfully accused of molesting his stepson. It was a very intense trial. We had a judge who came up to me, and we're waiting for the jury. The jury was impaneled, and they had to sit all night until they made a decision. And I was pacing back and forth, and he came up to me and he said, you know, you care too much. If you care that much, you can't be a trial lawyer because you have to disassociate yourself from the case. And I thought, at the time, it really didn't hit me until later on when we won the case, and I thought about it, and I thought, he's absolutely wrong. The strongest thing that I've ever had going for me and that's helped me is that I care a lot, and I care about the people, and I think being Jewish has helped me with that.
How do you think it's helped you in caring about the people you represent?
Well, I have a strong sense of family. A lot of the clients we have that get in trouble, we do private defense work. Their family helps them. They have a support system. I don't just sit and judge them and say, you're absolutely wrong, you need to repent, you need to stop what you're doing and beat yourself up about it. I kind of encourage people to go on with their lives and learn from their mistakes.